Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And what better way to wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day than with a puzzle by Phistomefel himself. Now I appreciate that some of you out there may think that a puzzle or a Sudoku by the devil is not the most romantic gesture, but how can I put this? Those people are Roggen. There, I've said it. Now, this puzzle appeared very recently on Logic Masters Germany, and it's got an incredibly high rating. I enjoyed the comment of a solver called Cam, who wrote the following. He wrote, "Incredible puzzle. It was worth every minute of the 112 hours I poured into it." Which I guess means this could be a long video. We shall see. Now, some of you may have already spotted this, but earlier on today we released an incredible video featuring the remarkable Tantan Dai, this amazing solver from China. So Mark and I are able to talk to her about her experience in Sudoku world, and also to watch her solve. Now, if you ever fancied yourself as some sort of speed solving demon when it comes to puzzles, let Tantan show you what that really means, because what she can do is a form of magic. So I will try to remember to put a card on the screen over there, that's where the card will be. Please have a look. Now, this is a big day, with it being Valentine's Day. For patrons of the channel over on Patreon, we have two new gems over there. One is a second video by Tantan in which she explains how to solve a recent Sudoku variant, and the other is our latest competition puzzle. So this is Scott Strossal's Sudoku Challenge. Now remember, there is a prize for the first correct entry we receive to that challenge, which will be the opportunity to test solve our brand new Sudoku puzzle hunt. Yes, there is a brand new Sudoku puzzle hunt, which is really exciting. If you fancy your chances at being the test solver, being the first person to see that hunt, then do try and finish Scott's hunt, which is, I will tell you, not easy. Anyway, let's get on to the rules of Phistomefel's puzzle. What's going on here? We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells separated by a knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. And in cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage, and digits cannot repeat within a cage. So we've got standard killer Sudoku rules, which tells us that those three cells, for example, have to add up to 14, and you can't repeat a digit. So what you can't have is 662, for example, because although that does add to 14, and it doesn't appear to break the rules of Sudoku, these sixes aren't in the same row, column, or box. The sixes do repeat in the cage, and that is not allowed, so don't do that. Now, in terms of the knight's move constraint, that means, let's imagine the central cell of the grid is a 1. If this was a chess knight in this position, the chess knight could jump to exactly those positions, and therefore none of these yellow cells could contain a 1. So if we try and put a 1 there, these are chess knights move apart, and that's illegal in this puzzle. So again, don't do that either. Don't be naughty. Do have a go at the puzzle though. The way to play, as usual, is to click the link under the video. Now I get to play and do battle with the Sudoku Devil again. Let's get cracking. And yes, let's get cracking. Now I'm not terribly surprised by the fact I can't do even any pencil marking into cages. That's not a great surprise. I mean, the thing that strikes you about the grid, or at least strikes me about the grid, is these great columns that we have arranged in these enormous 6-cell cages. So, I mean, the 37 is the biggest cage, and we do know a little bit about this cage actually, because we can this is a 6-cell cage. What if it was a 9-cell cage? What would it add up to if it had 9 cells in it? Well, because you can't repeat a digit in a cage, it would be like adding up a row of the Sudoku. We can't repeat a digit in the row of the Sudoku, so it would contain all of the digits from 1 to 9, and we know if we add those digits up, we get the number 45. So this 6-cell cage must be missing exactly 3 of the digits, and those digits must add up to 45 minus 37, so they add up to 8, which means that this cage has no 1 in it, which means that Well, I suppose... Now, this isn't a facetious question, but that is interesting. How many ones are there in column 3 and 4 of this Sudoku, or indeed any Sudoku? Well, it's not a trick question. There should be 1 1 in column 3 somewhere, and there should be 1 1 in column 4 somewhere. So if there are no 1s in the 37 cage, then there must be exactly 1 1 in the 30 cage and exactly 1 1 in the 23 cage, because what we can't do is something like that. That will repeat the 1 in the 30 cage. So there must be 1 1 here and 1 1 here. And no 1 in here. So this one is lonely. It's got no 1 in it. Not appropriate for Valentine's Day. What does that mean? I don't think it means much, actually. Well, it probably does mean something, but I can't see what it is. Let's try another of these cages. I mean, this cage is interesting as well, though, isn't it? Because if that's a 6-cell cage adding to 23, it's missing 3 cells that add up to 45 minus 23, which is 22. And I do know something about 3 digits that add up to 22. They must include a 9. So there is no 9 in this cage, which means there must be a 9 in that cage and there must be a 9 in this cage. Which means that... I was about to say that might mean something for this 19 cage, because if a 19 cage hasn't got a 9 in it, it must have an 8 in it, because 7 plus 6 plus 5 only adds to 18, but actually it's quite possible for there to be a 9 somewhere in this 31 cage without it limiting the 19 cage. Oh, a knight's move, of course. What does that do to this puzzle? I see. Right, hang on a moment. I've been thinking about this all wrong. All wroggen, I should say. Because these pillars in the columns are they have cells that see all of them. These cells see this cell, for example, it sees every cell in the 37 cage, in fact, and the 23 cage, but the 37 cage, so whatever I put in that cell, it can't go in there by Sudoku or here by Sudoku, and it sees these two by knight's move. So whatever goes in there doesn't go in here at all. And the same is true of this square, of course. But probably the central squares are the ones we need to think about, because they are affected by what's on their left and what's on their right. So these 3 squares are the places we need to think about, I think. So let's start here. We've got 37 on its left, which is missing 3 cells summing to 8. So it must... This square's really restricted, actually, because it's got high digits here and low digits here. That's got to have everything 6 and higher. This one has to have everything 4 and lower. This is a 5, isn't it? This is a 5. Okay, how do we know this square is a 5? Well, let's think about it carefully. We know that this cage is missing 3 cells that sum to 8. Now, I know there are only 2 ways of making 3 cells sum to 8, 1, 2, 5 and 1, 3, 4. So every other digit, i.e. 6, 7, 8 and 9, whatever the combination is that's missing from this 37 cage, we know that there is a 6, 7, 8 and 9 in here. Therefore, we know we can't put 6, 7, 8 or 9 in here, because a 6, for example, would rule the 6 out of the 37 cage, and we know there's a 6 in it. So that's how we deal with 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now on this side, it works similarly, but from the other way round. There are 3 cells missing here that add to 22. Now that can be in 2 ways, 5, 8 and 9, or 6, 7 and 9. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 have to be in this cage. So they can't be here. So this square on its left can't be 6, 7, 8 and 9. On its right can't be 1, 2, 3 and 4. It's a naked single, which is so appropriate for Valentine's Day. And it's a 5. So that means... Well, what does that mean? That means the 13 cage can't be 5, 8. So this is 4, 9 or 6, 7. Oh, no, hang on. I've spotted something else this means. This being a 5 actually tells us what's in the 37 cage now. Because if there's no 5 in it, and there is no 5 in it, the version of 3 cells summing to 8 that's missing from the 37 cage is 1, 2 and 5. So every other digit is in here. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that does add to 37. Good. So okay. I'm just trying to see if that means something. It does mean something, actually. I mean, this is actually really clever because it's so simple, and yet it's sort of a bit hard to see. But if 1, 2 and 5 are missing from this pillar, and they are, this pillar here, or this stone within the pillar, we know that these 2 columns have to have 1, 2 and 5 in it. We've already thought about it in the context of the 1, but actually now the 2 and the 5, the same logic applies. So there must be a 2 in this cage, and there must be a 5 in this cage, and there must be a 2 in this cage, and there must be a 5 in this cage. And we know that because, for example, for the 5, we know there are 2 5s in column 3 and column 4, and we now know we have to put those 2 digits in these 12 cells, but we can't repeat a digit in a cage. And that is going to force this 23 cage, isn't it? Because this 23 cage now has to have in it 1, 2 and 5. But it's missing 3 cells that sum up to 22. So it's definitely missing 9, and then it's either missing 5 and 8 or 6 and 7. Well, we know it's not missing 5. So it must have 8 in it as well, and it's missing 6 and 7, so it has 3 and 4. And this should add up, and does, to 23. That's really clever. Phistomefel, he never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's just really elegant, isn't it? So now, look, we can just compare these 2 cages together, and any digit that isn't appearing twice must appear in the 30 cage. So we've only got 1, 1, that's got to appear. We've only got 1, 2, that's got to appear. We've got 3s and 4s, so there can't be any 3s and 4s in here, or we'd have 3 3s or 3 4s in these 2 columns, which won't work. That's got to 5 I can only see down there, 6 I can only see up here, 7 I can only see down there. I can see 2 8s and not 8. This has got to be 9. Now hopefully this will add to 30. And it does. That's perfect. Now I've got a bit sidetracked here in thinking about these columns. I'm forgetting my knight's moves. I wanted to check these 2 positions, didn't I? Oh no, I do want to check that, but I've just the 5 does the same in this one. The 5, yeah, so this one is the opposite of this one, I think, because this one, this box, this stone bit here, out of the pillar, can't contain a 5. It's missing, so we're missing 22 in 3 cells from this. So we're now missing 9, 5 and 8 from this one. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's got 6 and 7, and that adds to 23. Now, So we can do the same. This is beautiful. I love this. So now 5, 8 and 9 have to appear in these cells because there has to be 2 of them in the column. Can we improve upon that at all? The 36 cage is missing 3 cells that sum up to 45 minus 36 that add up to 9. It's now got a 5 in it. So it's not missing 1, 3, 5. It's either missing 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 6. So it is missing 2. The 36 cage is missing 2, which means as there are 2 2s in this column, there is a 2 down there. So the 31 cage now is missing 3 cells summing to 14. But it can't, it's got 9 and 8 in it. So if it wasn't missing 7, it must be missing 7 because 6 plus 4 plus 3 does not equal 14. So there is no 7 in this one. Oh, which is exactly the same. I could have just done that by looking at this one, of course. If I thought about it, there must be a 7 in this one. I'm so silly sometimes, sorry. Of course there's a 7 in this one because it's either missing 1, 2, 6 or 2, 3, 4. Apologies. So this cage is missing 7, and then it's missing 2 cells that sum up to 7 as well, which aren't 2 and 5. So it's either missing 3 and 4 or 1 and 6. And that's exact. Oh, I see. Right, there's a symmetry here, and this is the same. So this is either missing 3, 4 or 1 and 6 as well. With Phistomefel, you feel like you're getting a glimpse into how the universe was made. It's just so clever. Now I am going to look at these squares. Now this square here, this square is hugely restricted because I know what this one is. So whatever I put in here cannot appear in this cage. So it's got to be 3, 4 or 8. And it's not, look, it's not 8. Because 8 is appearing in my 36 cage. So this square is down to being 3 or 4. I'm sure, is that telling me something about whether this is... So if this is missing, if 3 or 4 is not in here, doesn't that mean that this is missing 2, 3 and 4? Because it can't be missing. If it was missing 1, 2 and 6, that would imply there was a 3 or a 4 in there, and there can't be. Well, no, it's not. No, let me restate that. It's implying there is a 3 and a 4 in there, which there can't be. So this is missing 2, 3, 4, which means it needs to have in it 1 and 6, which means this should now add to 36, and it does. And that means we now know what this one's got in it. This one needs to have the 3 and the 4 that we're missing for the columns. So now this square, I'm hoping, is going to reveal the secrets of the universe. Let us check. So on its left, from its left-hand point of view, it's got to be 6, 7 or 9. From its right-hand point of view, it can't be 9. Oh! But the 6, 7 fixes the 13 cage. Now this can't be 6 and 7. So it's 4 and 9. And that, oh, this is beautiful. That means this is a 3. Happy Valentine's Day. This is just beautiful. Now this cage now, the 10 cage can't be 1, 9, 3, 7 or 4, 6. This is 2, 8, I think. And you can only, if you look at the central box now, 4 doesn't seem to be possible to put anywhere apart from here. So I think that's a 4. This is a 9. 9 is interesting now, because where does 9 go in this cage? It can't go in those cells, it's in the same box as a 9. It can't go in this cell, it's in the same row, and it can't go there because it's a knight's move away. So that's a 9. Pencil some 9s on the left. 9 is now not in those cells, look. So 9 is here. It's in one of... Oh, so if 9 is in one of those, look, we can bounce it over here. So if 9's in one of these, it's not in one of those, which means 9's in one of these, which means 9 is not in one of those. I love this, which means 9 is in one of these. I think that there the trail has run dry, hasn't it? Okay, so what do we do now? We can... I know what I can do. I can look at my 19 cage. That's definitely got an 8 in it now, because it's not got a 9 in it. There's a 9 here. I can't actually see that that pencil mark obscures the 19 a little bit, but there's an 8 in here, so there's no 8 there. Oh, so I'm going to do this again. There's an 8 in one of these, so there's no 8 there. So there's an 8 in one of those. I don't think that influences there, does it? Not sure. But the 8 here means there's no 8 in these, which means there's an 8 in one of those, which means there's no 8 in one of these, which means there's an 8 in one of those. And the 8 in one of those means this square can't be an 8, so that's a 2. Oh, this is strange. Right, so we've got this weird geometry thing going on. So this 9 forced a 9 at the bottom of this 31 cage. This 8, it works with the 2 as well. This 8, we know there's an 8 in the 36. Where can it go? It can't go in those two squares. This because of Sudoku, this because of knight's move. So I think the 8 goes there, which means there's an 8 over here. And the 2, look, can't go in here or here or here for exactly the same reason. So there is a 2 shunted up there, which means there's a 2 over here now. Which... now, what does this mean? We've got... I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure what this means. I'm sure it means something very profound, and I just have to work out what it is. 2's over there. This column, we've still got to place 1s, 6s and 7s into the gaps. So let's stare at this for a moment, see if we can see. So, right, so there's a mirror. Whatever goes in that square has to appear, look, in this stone. So it would have to go there, I think, because of the knight's move constraint removing this square. So those two squares are the same. I'm going to just highlight that just for a second. Does that mean this can't be 6 or 7? Or am I going mad? I'm probably going mad. If this is 6, you've got to put 6 here for the reasons I just explained. And now where do I put the 6 in there? Nowhere. It won't go anywhere. It's been ruled out by Sudoku and knight's moves. The 7 is the same thing is true with the 7. Because I have to put a 7 in there, I can't. I think that is a 1 for that reason. So that's a 1, that's a 1, 1 is now over here, which is better because it's not affected by that logic around this cage. This square down here now is not 1. Oh, bobbins. Okay. All right. Yes, I accept. I could have done that in a more simple way. I know some of you get cross with me for doing things in the most complicated way, and I have now noticed that if I had looked at this box and asked where 6 and 7 can go, I would have noticed they could only go in these squares. Okay, so that would have given me the 1 here by a less elegant route, but perhaps a more efficient one. Sorry. Right, now look, 1 now can't go in those squares, so I'm deleting it from those squares. 1 now can't go in these squares, so 1 appears in one of those squares. So 1 can't appear in these squares, so 1 appears in one of those squares. 1 can't appear in one of those squares, so appears in one of these squares. There's a touch of the nori-noris almost going on in this puzzle at the moment, but there's no harm in that. Now, what next? We can what do we do now? I don't know. We can we use this 16K? 16K has got a 1 or a 2 there. Ah, yeah, maybe we can actually, because we've got an 8 domino here. Now, dominoes in Knight's Move Sudokus are very important because you can't put an 8 in either of those cells. If you don't believe me, try it. If this was an 8, it would remove an 8 from there and there because of the Knight's Move. So this might have to, it does have to have a 9 in it then. If this is 1, these have to add up to 15 without using 8. So these would be 6 and 9. Oh, where's that gone? 6 or 9. Ah, it's all going wrong. Sorry, 6 or 9 in here. Now, if this was a 2, these would add up to 14 without using 8. So they still need a 9. So there's definitely a 9 in here. So this is not 9. Which means what then? Well, maybe it doesn't mean anything. You can't rule out a 9 from this square because I could, if the 9 was here, it would see both of those because of the Knight's Move. But if it's here, it could still be in either of those cells. So I'm not sure. Oh, we can ask where 8 goes in box 1. 8 now doesn't seem to be in any of those yellow squares, so there's an 8 at the top. 8 is not here, therefore. This little 8 sees that square by Knight's Move. So where does 8 go in the 37 cage? Only here. Because it can't go there because these are a Knight's Move apart. So 8 is now over there. And that means what exactly? It means that we can oh, well, I was noticing it via the domino, but I've just seen it's true because there's an 8 and an 8 here. There's now no 8 in the 14 cage, and there's no 1 in the 14 cage because that sees the 1. So this... Oh, actually, that's still got lots of opportunity. That's got lots of degrees of freedom. Sorry, I don't think that is constrained after all. Oh dear. Yes, I know Tantan Dai would have finished by now, but I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. We've got... Not even sure I know where to look. What's this one? That's saying it's an 8. Sorry, it's a 19 underneath the 8. So I need 2 cells in here along with the 8 that add up to 11 without using 2, 9 or 3, 8. So this is a bit constrained. Actually, I'm going to get rid of the 8 pencil marks and put... It's either 4, 7, 8 or 5, 6, 8. But it's definitely got an 8 in it. 8 can't go there. Whoops. So 8's in one of these two. And I suspect what's the problem is now is that I'm not spotting some horrible knight's move constraint, which... Aha! Yes, I wasn't spotting it, but I have now. Oh, and actually, to be fair to me, this is beautiful. This is not that standard, and is in fact not knight's move. But this is this is the sort of thing that Tantan would have spotted instantly, but I didn't. These cells and this cell are very interesting. Whatever you put in here obviously sees all of those. So you can't put 3, 4, 6 or 7 in there. That is just a naked single. That's a 9. Oh, that's huge, actually. Look, this 9 bounces here by knight's move. So the 9 has to go there. 9 must live at the top of the grid in box 3. And oh, lovely. And let's carry on with this, this sort of logic around 3, 4, 6s and 7s. What can go in those squares now? Well, not 1 and 2. These squares both see all of that quadruple there. So you can't put 3, 4, 6 or 7 in there. And you can't put 9 in there. That is a 5, 8 pair. Which means this is a 6, this is a 1, this is a 2. The 9 fixes the 9 at the bottom. 5 is now forced into the 14 cage. I'm sure we can go further than this. Let me just think about how. 6. Oh, 6, of course. Look, we know that one of those is a 6. It's now not any of those. So 6 goes here. Same again. 6 is not in any of these anymore. So 6 is here. 6 is not in those. That's a 5, 7 pair. That's lovely. That sort of communicates through the box to give us a 1, 6, 9 triple. Now this 1 sees that square. The 6 sees that square. The 9 sees that square. So that is a 6, I think. That's a bit surprising. But welcome, because there's no 6 in here anymore. So we now get a 2, 5, 7 triple there. Remove 2, 5 and 7 from there. This becomes 1, 6, 9. That can't be 9 because of the 9 here. This can't be 6. This can't be 9 because of the 9 there. So that becomes a 9. Good grief. Okay, and now presumably we know what these are. Because we can delete 3 and 4 from this triple because of the 3, 4, 7 triple at the top. So, oh, whoopsie, that's a disaster. Let's get rid of 3 and 4. So this becomes 2, 5, 8. Get rid of 2 and 5 from this one. 3 is not there. 4 is not there because of knight's moves. 3 and 4 come out of here. Whoopsie, press the wrong buttons again. 2, 5 and 8 get left behind. So delete 2 and 5 from this square. Oh, and look, this is just... Look at what Phistomefel has done here. We went from up here with 6s, bouncing round the grid, tidying up these pillars up here, coming round this way, down this way. We've ended up here where this 19 cage, which could have been 4, 7, now can't be. So there is no 4 and no 7 in here. This is now 5, 6, 8. It's just, it's ridiculous how good he is. Ridiculous. This 4 sees that square. So that's a 3, that's a 4. Oh, please don't come to a grinding halt. These squares are 1, 2 and 7, I think. Now, there's going to be something here, isn't there? There's going to be some horrible knight 3. It's going to be something like this, a 3 here, pointing at a square like that, that is going to be so easy to miss. 8 is looking down in there. Oh dear. Okay. Well, there was a flurry of activity, but it has ground to a halt. 6. Where does 6 go in this box? This 6 is very powerful because of the knight's move constraint. So the 6 is in one of those 3 squares. And well, it's not in that one. The 6 is in one of these 2 squares. It sees that. So that's a 5. Like, oh, lovely. 2-8 pair in row 7. That gives me a 6 and an 8. The 6 doesn't disambiguate these 6s. So now this row, I've got a 2-8 pair in it. I've got 1, 4 and 7 to place. So there's definitely a 7 in my 13 cage, along with a 1 or a 4. So this square is a 2 or a 5. And that doesn't seem to be... Is that resolved by something? It could well be, but I can't see how to do that. I'm not sure. So if this doesn't do it, it must be... Is it this one that does it? This is the only cage I've not looked at. Right, look, it's got a 5 in it. And it's got one more of 3, 4 or 7. And we're getting to 14. Oh, it's not got a 4. You can't put 4 and 5 in there, because then you'd have to put 5 in here, and that would repeat the 5. And in fact, there's a 5 here. In fact, there's a 5 here anyway. That's a good thought. That is a good thought. So this square is a 5. This is a pencil mark 6. So this domino adds up to 9, and this square is 3 or 7, because it can't be 4. This square is 6 or 2, and that means it's... Oh no! It's... No. I don't know. Am I meant to know that? I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Oh, I've got a 2 here, seeing that square. That's nice. That gives me a 5, 7 pair in this row. So this row needs 1, 2, 4 and 8. Oh, I see. Sorry, I've just spotted something that I should have looked at. I think I even mentioned it at the start. Cells that see these whole combinations, this square sees the whole of that box. So this square only ever had 3 options, which were the digits that weren't in this box because of the knight's move constraint. Whatever goes in here can't go in there. So this square... It had to be 3, 4 or 8, and it can't ever be 3. There's a 3 there. So this is 4 or 8. Okay, well, it doesn't seem to be... I'm hesitant to say this, but I can't see how that resolves. Now this one, let's check this one as well. So this one has to be 2, 3 or 4. It's not 3. It's 2 or 4. One in row 5 now. This one rules out that square. 1 can only go here. 1's not there anymore. I should check this square, of course. This can't be 2. I can see it immediately. If you put 2 in here, you can't put 2 into this cage. So this is not 2. This is 1 or 7. How does this disambiguate? I think we're right on the cusp of understanding this. This square is 2, 4 or 8 by Sudoku. It must be one of these. I think it must be one of the cages if I've not missed a knight's move constraint. This one is 5. Ah, it's this one. It's this one. These add to 9. Well, if they were 7 and 2, if this was a 7 and this was a 2, what would I put in there? Answer. Nothing. It's not that. So this is 3. This, oh, no. This is 3. This is 6. Now, does that tidy anything up? I hope so. Maybe, oh yeah, look. This 6 seems to go and see this 6-1 pair over here, which gets me the 1 and the 9 pair fixed as well. One is not there. This one bounces into the 23 cage. Look, it fixes that square as a 4. That gives a 7-1 pair here, so this must be a 5. That 5 sees that cell. That's not 4 anymore. So this 1 bounces in here as well. Look, it sees that square, so that's a... Oh, I didn't mean to change both of those, just that one. 3 and 1 go in. The 1 fixes a 1 here, look. This becomes a 2-7, which fixes this one. 6-7. 7-7-7. 7 has to be in one of those two cells. It's probably resolvable, but I can't see immediately how to do that. All the cages are done. I think this is just now a Knight's Move Sudoku. 2 can come out of those squares. So look, along here we've not placed 3 and 4 in the row. So that's a 3-4 pair. The 3 here sees it. That becomes a 4. That becomes a 3. That gets me the 8 here. Not. Yeah, the 8 fixes the 8-5 at the top. Oh my goodness me, I don't know what I pressed there, but that felt like it was the verge of a disaster. Now that square should be a right-in. That looks like it's a 6. So this is a 2 or a 4, and look, there's a 2 up here helping us to disambiguate that. That 2 fixes the 4 over here. These two squares must be 3 and 7. Goodness knows how we resolve these. Let's check. Oh, I know one way. Well, not resolving these, but that can't be 7 anymore because it would rule 7 out of both those squares. So that's 5. Which means this is 7, this is 5. Is anything poking into anything else here that we can... This 7, yeah, that's seeing that square. That's got to be 4 now. That's 7. The 8 down here is fixing an 8 up there. So these squares here are 4, 7 and 9. You can never put 7 into this square because it would rule the 7 out of both of those. And you can't put 4 in it either, so that's 9. And this is a 4-7 pair. I'm sure something is disambiguating all this, but I'm not exactly sure I can see what it is. So 2, 3 and 9 go into these cells. Well, let's put them in and see what we can tidy up. That can't be 3. That can't be 9. This, oh no. What is it? Come on. Oh, good grief. I don't know. Hang on. 8 here is not there. What is it that's poking into one of these cells that's disambiguating it? The whole thing. Oh no. This happens so often with these puzzles. And the 7. There you go. That 7 is seeing that one. 2, 7, 7, 3. 2 here, therefore. Does this... No, that 2 doesn't do it. Okay. This 8, though, does bounce down there and give us a 2, which gives us an 8 here. That means that's a 5. That's a 2. That's a 5. That's an 8. What does... Oh, this 2, look at that. It does reach in now. That gets us those 2 squares. The 9... This should be a 3, and this should be a 9. And something now... yeah, this 3, which I think I've only just got, now points into the top again. So that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 4, that's a 7, that's a 7, and that's a 3. And that is how to solve just as beautiful a puzzle as you'll ever see. Fantastic, as always, from Phistomefel. I loved that. That's just... the stuff going on with these pillars is just... it's original, it's elegant, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.